Good afternoon. Great to see everybody. Hope you're doing well today. We're going to do a couple of short Rashis here from the. Actually, I chose to cheat a little bit today. There's some Rashis left over in yesterday's Aliyah, the fourth Aliyah of the combined Parshios, which is actually the beginning of Parshas Bechuk, which are too good to pass up. And so I must mention them. It would be hard to go through this double Parsha without noting them. So we're going to skip over today's Rashi and really borrow a little bit from yesterday's. I'm going to show you a couple of them. The first one is the first Rashi in Bechukosai. The pasuk begins in Bechukosai telechu, ve'es mitzvosai tishmeru, v'asisem osam. The beginnings of the promise of all the bracha, all the great blessings that are to come if we keep the mitzvahs of the Torah is phrased in this way. If you walk in the footsteps of my chukos, my laws, and my mitzvahs you keep, and you do them, what's going to happen? You're going to get rain in its season. All the different brachos are going to come. So Rashi notes the redundancies of the pasuk. If you follow my statutes, if you walk in my statutes, what does that mean? Walk in my statutes. Yacho zekiyum hamitzvos is walking in the statutes of God, meaning you follow the mitzvahs of the Torah. That can't be. Kshu omer tishmeru vasisem etz kol hamitzvos. We already have the rest of the pasuk. It says, "Es mitzvotzai tishmeru vasisem osam." You should do my mitzvos. You should keep my mitzvos. It already says that in the end of the pasuk. So it can't be that in bechukosai telechu is also a reference to following the mitzvahs of the Torah. Hare kiyum hamitzvahs amor. We already have kiyum hamitzvahs. We already have the fulfillment of mitzvahs stated in the pasuk. Ha'amani makayim bechukosai telechu. So what do I do with this first stitch of the pasuk? Sheyu amelim batorah. It's not enough to just keep the mitzvos, but what the Torah is exhorting us here to do is to be amelim batorah, to struggle with Torah, to put our efforts into Torah. It's a beautiful Rashi, one which I'm sure many of you have seen before. It's a Rashi that I think is a very simple one, but with a powerful message for all of us. And that is, Torah is not just about results. Torah is about effort as well. The whole endeavor of Torah and mitzvahs can be overwhelming. And it's one in which we fail, I wouldn't say more often than we succeed. If we're failing more often than we succeed, maybe something's slightly wrong. But it's one in which we fail a lot, because there's just no way to be perfect all the time. There's too many rules, too many details. We're human beings, we're fallible. And so sometimes we get it wrong because we don't understand it enough. Sometimes we get it wrong because it was just too many details to follow. Sometimes we get it wrong because we don't have the right teacher. Sometimes we get it wrong because even though we know what's right to do, we fall prey to our own desires and to our own whims and to our own human inclinations, as we've seen so many times. So the possibility for failure is endless. There's great possibility for success, but the possibility of failure is endless. And if you thought that it was a product-only religion, it was a result-driven religion, then you'd really be setting yourself up for failure, because there would be no way to totally succeed. However, what the pasuk and Rashi is reinforcing to us here as the preface to all of the great brachos of keeping the Torah is that it's not just about the results, it's about the effort you put in as well. That amelus batorah, toiling in Torah, and toiling, by the way, means putting in effort, devotion, dedication, but it also implies that sometimes the performance of the mitzvahs is not easy. You have to struggle with it. You have to try for it. You have to work hard for it. So both the effort, easy effort or hard effort, devotion, and the difficulty of the struggle, all of that is part of the package of what the endeavor of Torah is about. And if you could be successful in the amelus batorah, in the toiling in Torah learning and Torah performance, then even if you don't quite always succeed in the performance piece, in the result piece, it doesn't always come out the way that you wanted, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is machshiv that as well. He puts great importance upon that as well, upon the effort stage, upon the process stage. That's something that should give us a lot of chizuk, a lot of strength, and a lot of comfort to know that the efforts are taken into account as well. I want to do one more Rashi. I apologize for those of you who were in shul this morning, but it's just too good a Rashi to pass up. I have to speak it out, even though I did say it this morning in shul. one of the first things that the Torah promises in terms of all these blessings that we're going to get if we keep the laws of the Torah is material blessing. You're going to have plenty of food, your crops are going to be successful, you're going to eat until you're full and you're plenty. You're going to have security in your land. And then the Torah says, "V'nasati shalom ba'aretz," I'm going to put peace in the land. And then later on, the Torah goes on to describe the lack of war, etc., and then goes back to material blessings. Achaltem yashan noshan, v'yashan mipnei chadash totziu, more material blessings. So Rashi notices this over here. He says, okay, what's going on here? You promise material blessing. The capstone of that seems to be shalom, peace. All of a sudden goes back to material blessing again. What's the structure? What's the order here? Rashi says, v'nasati shalom, shema tomru. Hare macha v'hare mishte, imen shalom ein klum. Talmud lomar achar kozos v'nasati shalom, magid shalom shakol keneged hakol. You might have thought that shalom is just the sum total of what came before it. Once you have macha, once you have mishte, you have food, you have drink, then you have shalom. And if you didn't have shalom as the capstone of all that, then you really don't have anything. But what Torah is trying to reinforce here by coming back to the material blessing after shalom is to state to us that shalom is a blessing in and of itself. It's not just the sum total of what came before it. It's not just the sum total of all the good you have. And now you say, okay, I'm in a status of peace. It's wonderful. No, it's more than that. It's that shalom is its own independent bracha that is the gateway and the opening to so much more good that can come. Once you exist in a state of shalom, so much more bracha can come on than you ever imagined before. And so it's shakol keneged hakol. It's actually equated more than anything. Shalom is weighted more than every other blessing because it's the key and the opening to all the blessings rather than the sum total of those blessings. It's part and parcel of the process of getting to a life of more bracha is to be blessed with that shalom and that peace that allows you to both mentally and physically be at ease with your world and invest in your world to the maximum without being distracted by all the things that can come to take you down, but rather be free to be able to expand yourself to the maximum and both in the physical realm succeed, and in the spiritual realm open yourself up the most to the brachos that Hashem wants to shower down upon us. We should all be blessed with amelus b'Torah. We shall be blessed with toiling in Torah and success both in the process and in the results, and ultimately also be blessed with the blessings of shalom, which are so needed in our time, the blessings of peace, which not only are the capstone for all the good we have in our lives, but also the gateway and the opening to so much more to come. Have a great day, everybody.